A date with a red-headed stripper. It was years ago, maybe around 2006, when Las Margaritas was my favorite night spot. I probably visited once a week for months at a time. As strip clubs go, it was a good one for a guy who wasn't filthy rich but still liked to fool around with reasonably attractive girls. A half-hour session with one of the girls ran around $20, of which the girl received half, the standard arrangement in such places. When I first started going, Margaritas had a great lineup, a bunch of girls who seemed to enjoy being there and were easy on the eyes. I like variety, so I had given quite a few of them a try. A new girl, Gina, had just started working there and had a certain appeal for me. The majority of the girls who work in the nightclubs are typical Latinas, with brownish skin tones. I have no problems with that, but when I see a girl with very white skin and natural red hair, I take a nice long look. Gina was like that, although she wasn't all that pretty otherwise. Her front teeth were crooked and she was a little bit on the chunky side. She didn't have much of a bust or long legs, but she dressed in cute stockings and was above my doable threshold. Like any motivated professional, she noticed that I was looking at her and came over. I was surprised to hear how well she spoke English. There was a trace of an accent, but the grammar was as good as any gringa's. She said that her father had worked at the American Embassy when she was a child, and she picked up her English there. She also told me she had recently been working in one of the more upscale nightclubs, but she was bored there and preferred Las Margaritas. I decided to give her a try, and we went up to the bar, paid the money, and went back into one of the private rooms. The sex was pretty good, especially for her, if her behavior and words were to be believed. She was convincing enough that the next time I came back, I bypassed some more attractive girls to spend another half hour with her. Our apparent mutual enjoyment was the same as before. I was thinking that she would be fun to spend an evening with, especially with her good English, since my Spanish wasn't all that great back then. I got her phone number and called her on her night off. She agreed to meet me for drinks, then go back to my apartment for some sex. We met in the bar of a nice hotel and had a few drinks. She was hungry, and we ordered some appetizers, which she dispatched quite neatly. By this time I was warmed up pretty well, so we headed back to my apartment to round off the evening. Things seemed to be going all right when all of a sudden she stopped, saying that she had suddenly started to menstruate, and we were done. Now, being a gentleman, I was going to pay her anyway, but I was stunned when she demanded $100. What the fuck? She was getting $10 for a half hour at the club, and she wanted $100 from me, and I didn't even get to finish. And there was the matter of drinks and food, which cost me as much as a session at the club would have cost me. I had expected to pay around $40, maybe $50 tops, so I was pissed off. In the end, I ended up paying her more than I felt was right, and less than she wanted. When she finally walked out the door, neither of us was a happy camper. Fast forward about 6 months, and Margaritas had changed owners and gone downhill in a hurry. My friends and I had gone back to the Arcadas and Molino Rojo circuit. Well, lo and behold, there was Gina working at Arcadas. We successfully ignored each other, and did so for the next 6 months or so that I saw her working there. Now there's another club across the street from Arcadas called Chica Caribe, which is usually pretty dead and definitely a step down from Arcadas, which is a bit of a step down from Margaritas. And there was Gina again. Once again we ignored each other, and since she was almost the only girl in there, my friends and I turned around and walked out. Fast forward one more time, and this time there were a few of us at Vips Taberna. Next door at the same time was the old Jet Set, a place without a bar and generally not on our tour itinerary, but we decided to poke our heads in before heading off to greener pastures. You never know who you'll find in any of these places. There was the usual lineup of gordas, fat girls, but there among them in that little dive sat Gina, the prima donna. This time, despite ourselves, our gazes met. She gave me a dirty look. As we were leaving, I turned my head to take one last look at her, and she flipped me off. Strangely, this made me smile. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. There isn't a lot of justice in this world, but in this case, the karma police seem to be on duty.